we'll see how far we can get here. Like right now, it's very calm at my domicile. I've somehow managed to get the animals sequestered and calm. Eli's calm. Melissa's like 45 minutes away. When she gets home, the dogs are gonna freak out, and
Everything's crazy.
it might get crazy. Yeah, just to give us a heads up.
Well, tell her to wait outside for until we're done.
I'll see how she likes that. I've made a decision, by the way. You want to know what I decided yesterday, oddly enough?
Uh-huh.
I was, she started the microdosing.
Mushrooms?
Psilocybin, yeah. For her
Psilocybin?
for her trauma therapy, and she did what?
Doing trauma therapy with a professional?
Melissa is. She's been
Okay.
doing it. She's
Okay,
been
great.
doing it. They've been doing it for years. Anyway, so they're planning to do psychedelic therapy, and she got her supplies over the weekend, and she went ahead and microdosed one day, and
Just like preemptively was gonna,
took it
without
for a
direction.
spin, and she did not have a great time.
Wow.
And I didn't help. I don't think I helped because she was in the kitchen at one point, and it was awkward for me because this is what I realized. Like I'm weird and I have random ass thoughts, and if I feel uncomfortable about a situation, I'll just start saying stuff. So she's in the kitchen like cleaning, and I start talking about Joe Rogan. Like I talk about all her least favorite topics. Joe Rogan, then I start talking about how isn't it weird how we can train animals to behave in the house and poop and pee outside, but we don't train them to do chores. So I just start talking about, I'm just start tripping with her basically.
Uh-huh. Does she like that?
No, she was like it was miserable for her, and
Well,
I what?
what?
Well, I ended up giving her space. I had to leave the space. Like we probably had 5 minutes together before I was like, this is not. She is not
Well,
enjoying this.
I'm assuming, is the microdose supposed to be a daily supplement, or is it taken at a specific time and then like structured therapy will be applied under that influence?
So the way I understand it is it's surrounded by structured therapy. And then they decide together what the what the actual plan is, and then they go through it, whether it's a day or two on, 2 or 3 days off. But it's all supposed to be in the bubble of therapeutic self discovery and working through traumatic experiences, right?
Yeah. My
So,
brother kind of experimented with microdosing on his own, like, um, I mean, it was a few years ago. It was a while ago now, but I don't know if it was related or not, or if he even noticed a change. But it was around the same time that I noticed him start being a little bit more mindful about what he was doing, and he would start because his behavior has been um, antagonistic and exacerbating like since he was born. But he started actually apologizing afterward for when he kind of said or did things that were antagonistic. Um, so I don't know if it's related, but I don't. I'm not even sure if he noticed the change, but I noticed around that time, yeah, there seemed to be a higher level of self-awareness,
the
even if
one
it's like unaware that he's more self-aware.
the biggest thing I noticed was, and I pointed it out to her after she was done with her trip, but we were mid conversation and we get into these debates and arguments about dumb stuff. And she felt herself getting agitated and said, "I don't want to fight. Let's not do this." And I've never heard her say that.
Yeah. So the effect on my brother, if that was related, it's he stopped doing it a long time ago, but the effect has been permanent. He's been permanently more self-aware in that way.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see what comes of it. But I brought it up because the thing that happened the day after, we processed it, we realized, I'm not the best companion. And but then I was like, the actual reason, the issue that I was having was there's a ton of stuff that I would love to share with Melissa that I don't share with her. The stuff I naturally think about that's of interest to me that I don't share with her because she's always adamantly opposed to my philosophical viewings or ways of perceiving reality. She's always just like, no, 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 that's not what I need, blah, 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 blah. And I made the decision, I think yesterday or 2 days ago, I was like, you know what? F all this. I'm just going to start sharing with her what I think is helpful, because this stuff, it is helpful. She just doesn't want to look at it, and I don't know why.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Some of it's
So,
helpful.
well, I think a lot. I mean,
Wait, whoa. No, I don't want to get it. Yeah, I mean, oh my God, you used to come down on me hard for thinking I could say things that were helpful to people.
what do you mean? We can.
Dude, it was like a fight at Common Sense, like me wanting to do it because I wanted to like help someone. You're like, you can't help anyone. You can't help anyone.
That's how I
Yeah.
was.
Yes, dude, it's so annoying.
You can't help anyone?
Yeah, you can't. There's nothing. You can't help anyone. You don't know what they need. You can't help anyone. That was your attitude for like 3 years.
Well, I mean, I will say the idea that, yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe that's how I was. This is a great segue into what we're supposed to be discussing tonight.
Yeah, because you can absolutely be helpful to people. It is utterly absurd to say you can't be helpful to someone. You
Well,
can say you don't know. Go ahead.
the flaw I think I saw at the time was the idea that me saying something would help the person, that like where the motivation and the desire that was from which it was birthed was problematic, not the actual material itself. Like, I don't think, like, this is, I'm not, I don't know if what I have to share with Melissa can help her or not. But what I'm saying is I'm no longer going to be filtering myself and stopping myself from expressing things that are helpful to me in relationship to her because of how she may respond to it, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think you're right. I think I was that way for a long time, and I don't think it was helpful. I think what you
Yeah,
said is true
especially now
also.
when we're making a fucking sober living.
But then what was our morning? We were doing morning things at the house every morning where we were sharing things that were helpful.
Yeah, it sounds like you managed to do it while just like poo-pooing on me whenever I talked about wanting to be helpful to people. Fucking God.
Dang, I guess I am the thing that I hate.
Yeah. Yeah.
But today we got a good topic. I'll start us right here. The topic,
Wait.
What?
Do I look like a pro wrestler?
No. You look
What's
like
that? There was a guy that looked like this.
you look like the cover art of that regular Nintendo game, Bayou Billy or Bayou Jack.
What about Kid Rock?
You don't look like Kid Rock.
What does Kid Rock look like?
What does Kid Rock look like? He kind of looks like the, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what he looks like. What do you
Topic.
What?
Topic.
Okay, so you derailed me so quickly. The topic: what has and hasn't changed over the course of your life?
Wait. So we're talking about Melissa's trauma therapy, and then I'm starting to explore something in a similar vein. And I can't help but hear Peter's adamant resistance to the word trauma, and that and I like hearing his refusal to admit that it even exists, that it's a thing. But what I've learned is that just like the brain is a computer, right? But trauma is just kind of any strong emotional event that's basically encoded onto the nervous system. And so like what I'm working with now is not thought based. Like I've done all of this work over the last 8 years, primarily thought based. And like the AA program is like thought based. It's stuff you can write down. It never really asks you to feel anything. And so it's like I'm at the point where like I can't think more about emotions that are hidden. Like how, you can't it's this stuff is below thought. And so I'm working with this guy. It's not a talk therapist. He doesn't let me do much talking at all. It's about like feeling, going back to like the last time you had that feeling, and guided visualization and like bilateral stimulation in order to create a dual awareness of yourself in the present moment while you're also feeling or noticing what you're feeling in a past situation. And then like seeing what's there, like processing that emotion in real time. Because the idea is that these are like unprocessed emotions. And I can totally, I mean, it's like I can understand that completely. And I felt like for a long time, like there's, you know, you can write an inventory and look at your current fears or past resentments and stuff, but that's not actually going to take you to the core of a lot of what's, you know, underneath everything.
Especially if there's no fears or resentments associated with the experiences.
Right. And so what I'm seeing is like the emotion might be, for me, it's like unprocessed, like chronic loneliness since I was a kid. I'd forgotten that word existed. And then I realized it started like opening up again last week when I worked with this guy. But what I've seen is like that actually manifests for me as anxiety. And I just, so like, or I'll have like a fear about something, but it's like how it manifests is so totally seemingly unrelated to what the core like emotion or thought actually is that you would never get there through a simple thought-based examination of a resentment, a fear, that kind of stuff.
Well, I mean, it's from what you've told me, and I'd like you to just kind of describe what you've actively been doing all week. You know, you've been looking at home videos and entering your childhood and feeling the feelings associated with yourself, correct? Is that what you've been doing?
Yeah. Yeah. So, well, yeah. So this is also like how life with a capital L seems to work. So like from like 98 to like 2002 or so, I had like a handheld, you know, 8mm camcorder, that would just film random stuff. I'd film like, you know, my friends would come over to spend the night or whatever, and we just like make movies and stuff all night. And I'd film like Christmases with my family. I just like ran around with this thing. Um, and so like 98 to 2002, that's basically like fourth or fifth grade through like eighth grade. Um, and I've been meaning to digitize these tapes for like 10 years. And it's the weirdest thing. So like when we were in Atlanta, you know, Saints, they were in storage. So when we were in my mom's storage unit, when we were in St. Simon's, like at the beginning of the month, I grabbed them. And then when I did this therapy session with this guy last week, this EMDR stuff, I don't know, but like it brought, you know, it was like a guided visualization, and somehow it's like read as like a young kid in his room at home or whatever. So I'm like, visualizing, going in the room, seeing this kid playing by himself or whatever, and like, see these feelings of like feeling not liked or feeling lonely or whatever. But and then what I realized through that was that I hold sadness in my chest, which is odd because that's, you know, I've been to the ER twice recently because of that's where like most of my stuff comes up is stuff in the chest. Most of these psychosomatic symptoms. But anyway, so yeah, I started digitizing these tapes, and all of a sudden, like, so I'm talking to this guy about Reed in his room and what I can remember feeling and stuff. But then, you know, a few days later, I'm digitizing these tapes, and I'm literally looking at the thing I was just visualizing, Reed in his room. Um, and there was like a lot of feelings attached to that. But the main thing, so yeah, the topic is what has or hasn't changed throughout your life, basically. In what ways have you changed? In what ways have you not changed?
Yeah, yeah,
That,
but you're describing something that's a little more in depth than that, I would say. I mean,
well, it ties in. So, um,
let me just bring anybody up to speed who's just joining. Last week you were in the ER, and you still showed up to do the show the day after, and it was because of psychosomatic anxiety that had manifest.
well,
We don't know really, right?
yeah, it hurt to breathe. I mean, that part's not psychosomatic or something real, but like that, it's odd how that stuff I mean, there's something, I don't know,
But
but
anyway,
any-
you just so now you're on this path of exploring your life and your experience through thought, but you're doing it through your feelings, through emotion.
yeah, the part I've never done before. And the part that ironically all spiritual practice I'm aware of asked me to sidestep and bypass, essentially.
Let me just say before we go any further, it has been a joy communicating with you for this last week. Something has changed. You're like speaking and you're sharing and you're opening up about stuff that's actually real, and like it's not it's so weird to see an expression come from you that is obviously not thought based. It's
Yeah,
obvious that you're discovering something in real time about yourself.
yeah. Um, yeah, so yeah, emotion is I've been so like numb to emotion of any kind other than like anxiety or frustration that there's not much to talk about, or hasn't been much to talk about other than thought. But that was, it's like all these guys, like every, it's like if you have an emotion, it's fake, it's an illusion, and that you need to transcend even the idea that you're a person. And like, if you land in the present and stop thinking or something, then you'll just be blissful all the time. Or um, I don't know, like name a teacher, and the teaching is about transcending your humanity rather than actually being human. In my that's kind of that's where I got led. It was like I'm not going to process how I'm feeling or was feeling and have been suppressing. I'm going to skip it all and go straight to a state where I just feel good all the time. And I am so glad that I didn't get enlightened in the way I was hoping to, because then I would have like this week, the past few weeks have been painful and good. And this week, just for the opportunity to reintegrate with these parts of myself that I thought were, oh, gone. It's the past. It's not in the present moment. Well, like my past is the present. Like it, I am the past living now in a sense. Like like who I was at age 12 is not gone. I'm very much what I've discovered, like really oddly similar to the kid I'm watching in these videos, just a little bit more refined and mature. Um, so it was like, but like I would have missed that opportunity. If some like non-dual like, I don't know,
Wizard.
wizard zapped me, if a non-dual wizard had zapped me and just made me go straight to being consciousness, like what a tragedy it would be for me to look at these. Oh, did I freeze?
No, there's just a little choppiness. You're good though.
Okay. I thought, what a tragedy it would be for me to jump to some kind of non-dual awareness and then look at these tapes of myself from when I was a kid and feel nothing towards them. Oh, that's not me. Oh, that's Oh, that's not me. I'm here now. I'm aware that that's not me. God damn. I mean, what a fucking tragedy that would be.
Yeah, I mean I mean, yes, I wanna chime in here. I don't want to negate everything you've just said, well, by sharing how I relate to what you're saying. Because that would be a tragedy. It would be a real, if you weren't able to identify with yourself.
Yeah, I mean, at least I think you got to integrate. So for me, I'm glad I have the opportunity to integrate these things and explore these things that have gone unexplored.
What does it feel like? What's it?
What say?
What,
Okay, so yeah, I'm yeah, there's these strong emotions. So what I realized, like, there's a lot of I've done a great deal of processing over my drug using days, right? It's like almost like my memories start in ninth grade when I'm super depressed and want to die, and then going forward into using drugs at home and going to treatment and like all that shit. But it was like almost like had no memories of the prior to ninth grade, just because it got like overshadowed by that this drug using alcoholic period. Um, but what I realized, so there was for first, like there's an intense longing to go back there. Like it feels like this lost me, this lost time. I'm just like, I don't know. Like we had an awesome house I grew up in. Um, I was hanging out with my friends and stuff. I don't know. Whatever it is, it was something I thought was lost. Um, like I didn't even remember. And I'm so glad that like I'm getting reintegrated with this part of me that was before acute depression and before drug use and I before I became someone that I didn't like. Um, and you can it's like I'm more me. It's weird. I have this feeling that like I'd lost my I'd lost myself so deeply through drug use that I'd forgotten that I'd lost myself and started believing that I was this person who seemed to begin in ninth grade, end at 2017, beginning of recovery, and then was just someone who was like recovering or maturing after that point. But I'm seeing like it was almost like that time, that drug using period, and the last few years of recovery has like been. It was like I became someone else, and it's like I'm learning to become who I am or what who I was. Um,
ooh, that's so interesting. That is so interesting.
it's a really odd feeling. It's like
Well,
I've been switched,
you
or I
said
was
some
switched, and I didn't realize it. But they're all
you
parts of me. But it was like it's like a part of me that feels more.
well, like a character got created through your drug use because of the imagined style that you wanted to
I don't
live.
know. It's like a piece of me that I'd totally forgotten about.
Uh-oh, you're frozen. Dang, I think we lost him. Man, um yeah, it's just wild. I'm just going to think out loud until he gets back, but like I can see that happening, you know, you develop this identity. Oh, there he is.
Hold on, where did we cut out?
Hold on, it's about to be crazy. Hold on.
Well, just try to ignore it.
and you're over-identified with that, with the identification with the imagined character that you created in your drug addiction, alone in your room, making music, studying magic.
Yeah.
And then you get sober, and then you're over-identified with the recovery person.
Well, yeah, and it's like I thought that like I was this person who kind of like started in the drug using days. And I forgot that I was also this person who was prior to that. And it taught me too, like I had certain ideas about myself and, the timeline of my life, but it's actually altering those ideas because like I'm watching, I can see myself become a little more reserved and a little more depressed looking. For like 7th and 8th grade. It's not just like I had this idea like, I'm just a kid until acute depression in 9th grade and then everything changes. No, like life has been slowly shifting and evolving the whole time. There aren't static periods in my life. Like I've been changing as a person the whole time. And it helped kind of wasn't just everything just went to shit suddenly. It was
An
and then looking back,
amalgamation of stuff.
it's just like a slow evolution, and that like, yeah, I used to look at my life in terms of distinct periods, and I just don't think it's you can say there's distinct periods, but the transition between periods is actually more extended than maybe it seems in memory, so that the transition between periods isn't actually perceptible while living them.
So you shared something really interesting in the Discord, and let me read it real quick because, by the way, just to chime in, I'm really enjoying what you're sharing. I'm having to stop myself from sharing my own experience because it is so drastically opposite of what you've experienced. So I don't think it's helpful for me to share my own stuff right now. So I just want to share what you put in the Discord because I think this is a piece of what you're describing. You can see clearly on Christmas Day, I asked the family if they want to play the Game of Life board game, and no one responded. And that's the exact moment I was traumatized forever.
Yeah, so I'm exaggerating, but there's truth in that because well, one, I saw that and I was like, oh yeah, no one would ever play fucking board games with me. It was so annoying. I
And
always want to play these.
in my mind, I'm seeing little Reed excited to do something, and everyone around him is not even acknowledging his feelings.
Well, so yeah, this is about 7th grade, I think. But no, it's not like I just see that and like I know the full story, so it's like I recognize the little it's like that traumatized me. No, I'm joking, but it's true. Um, I didn't have a lot of shared interests with anyone in the family, which I think kind of. Now I wish I could have gotten people to play board games with me more. But then there's another video. It's me and my friend Chandler's birthday party. We're all over at his house and like we're hanging out in his room. Someone's playing. Remember, like it was like called L.A. Rush or something, some N64. And like the point of that was just to see how much you can flip your car. But so like they're playing that, and there's like Tim and Danny and Chandler hanging out, and they've got my camera and stuff. But like you can see me in the corner of the room on the computer playing one of Chandler's video games.
What does it feel like when you're watching these things? What does it feel like when you're watching your family ignore you?
Well, it's not like they were ignoring. No, they weren't ignoring me. But, no one wanted to play the board game with me. It's like that. I didn't have any feeling about that, but I did remember like, yeah, that was a thing. But it's joy to watch these videos.
You're liking it.
Oh my God, it's great. It's because like I'm remembering this time. These were like good time. This was like, these were good times. And But I also know like I was also experiencing a lot of pressure, um, a lot of anxiety, and a lot of loneliness. I'd have fun with my friends hanging out, and then Sunday, everyone leaves or I get back home from their house or whatever, and I just feel this kind of crushing loneliness for the rest of the day, and this pressure and anxiety that school was going to start Monday. Um, and so like there's this stuff going on. Um, but
I
like
used to
I'm really what
go ahead.
I don't know. It's weird. It's so one, it brings up this feeling of loneliness that is so old I'd forgotten about it. I mean, that was way buried through drug use, like so much that um I don't even think that feeling has come up once in recovery. But like that's been like probably one of the primary drivers for depression and drug use. Like one of those like core um I don't know whatever it is bubbling under the surface, the
What
demand.
does the loneliness feel like?
It's like it's weird. It's not it's there's a sadness. Well, it's not just sad. It's like the sadness. Well, I feel like so. I remember experiencing this, as a kid, and it felt like this. There's like this sadness and feeling like something's wrong, but not knowing what it is. Something's wrong, but I don't know what it is. And I can't tell anyone. I can't tell anyone about it because there's nothing acutely or visibly wrong. And I learned that if I looked visibly sick, then I would get attention. But in lieu of any physical manifestation, there was no attention given to this. And I think at an early age I learned how to make myself look sick for the school nurse so I could get sent home. Like even in like pre-first, I'm like manifesting illness so I can go home and be with mom.
Was the feeling did the feeling dissolve once you were able to be around your mom?
Um, I think so, but it's not even my mom. It was like these, hanging out with my friends and just being with people doing stuff. And
So
the weird thing is, what? Go ahead.
so you wouldn't feel that way around people. It was when you were by yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was just a feeling of yeah, it's a very kind of it's a painful feeling. Um and I've started feeling it this week, and the weird thing is like I'll be taking a walk with Tracy and I like be feeling that feeling, and then I'm like, but I'm not alone. Tracy's right there. It's like it's like it's like the feeling itself is almost disconnecting so that you can't feel connected. Or it's like, and there's also like a fear of the feeling too. So it's like that fear and preoccupation with the feeling removes the ability to feel connected with another because it gets you in your head. And, I've also been doing these somatic exercises too. It's a type of therapy, but I'm just kind of doing it on my own. There's some great YouTube videos, but it's about like feeling and connecting with the body. But like you said earlier, like my head is the place I usually live.
How's it been? Last week we talked about, well, the thing that blew my mind. I guess we haven't talked about this, but we could talk about it now. Was I couldn't believe that you shared on the Discord after last week's show, and then you were like basically saying what Adam was trying to point at is true. That my brain is actively attempting to plan and course out its life, or course out or know its, or actively attempting to know things or something like that.
I thought it was more nuanced than what you're sharing, and I didn't think your example was like. I think if you picked a different example,
Well, I'd never seen you do that before. I'd never seen you take something that I had shared with you, and we were wrestling the whole episode, and then come back online and say, "Oh my God, I'm completely conditioned by thought." You were like, "Oh my God, I'm completely what
Oh, that.
I'm not able to break away from the need to know what it is that should be happening." That's what it felt like you expressed.
One thing I
Holy
learned.
shit! Hold on. Guess
What?
who the fuck is here, dude?
Who?
Dharma Dom.
I don't really know him.
You do. When we were doing Guild Wars 2, remember we were talking about Krishnamurti and we went to his Instagram page and he had all those cool graphic arts designs of
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
the different teachers?
Yeah.
That's him. He's in Australia. He
Well,
can't usually see us because we're on a different time zone.
oh, okay. Um, side note, that feeling of loneliness was so well hidden that now the Krishnamurti videos would pop up about loneliness or whatever. I never watched those because I'm like, I don't deal with that. It's like
And yet
it's
all
like
the while you'd forgotten what your experience was like prior to your addiction.
well, yeah. What it's not it's my current experience, but it's so it's so unseen. It manifests as different feelings and thoughts. So it's like that's driving the current experience. That's not the past experience. Seeing these past experiences have unlocked truth about my current experience. That's what I'm learning. I'm like watching myself. Like, what do I have to learn from being 10 or 11 years old? Well, I actually have I'm learning about my current experience somehow. And then I'm like kind of in line with the topic. I'm realizing like, wait a second, I'm not that different. Like a lot of my mannerisms are the same. Like a lot of my core interests that I still have today are the same. Like a lot of my, I don't know, any bad thinking habits I have today, I already had back then.
You did?
Like, well, yeah, like, well, let's say I have a tendency to be controlling, but I had that as a kid. It's the same thing. We're trying to shoot a movie or something, and I'm trying to like literally arrange the scene perfectly.
Right, right, right.
I'm the one telling everyone what to do and how we're going to do it. Um, it's exactly the same. It's stupid. It is stupid to realize how basically the same. Like I had this idea that you grow and change throughout your life, and I'm like, I'm not sure that's actually the case. I think what you are becomes more
Well,
refined.
well,
But
it sounds to me I haven't shared what I discovered through this exercise yet, but it sounds to me that you haven't had the ability, you haven't been able to grow and change because the things that you felt or the things that you experienced as a child growing up have been lost. So you're operating off of the ability to feel, the ability to be present emotionally. For you to be present emotionally is a skill that hasn't been developed yet.
yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah, it's like my yeah, and what I realized like too is like I never actually had the chance to grow up. Like I'm a kid, and then boom, ninth grade, I want to die, and then I start using drugs. Like that transition that someone would have through like high school and college and so, like it was just like I was a kid, then all of a sudden like life fell apart and I was like a drug addict. Like there was no transition out of that. There's no integration of who I was. There's no growing into something else. There's just like, I don't know.
And then
But
once you get the message of recovery, it becomes conceptualized and thought based, like you described, and you know what to do. And so you start thinking and doing the things or exploring the things that recovery is
Well,
providing.
so AA. So I experienced recovery in AA, and the AA program is, at least for me, I'm seeing, at least for me, I don't know what it's like for other people, but it's totally unequipped to deal with this deeper kind of personal integration type stuff. Its job is not to do this. The AA program's designed for like acute, intensive care, like save the alcoholic's life. It is not equipped to, I mean, do any kind of emotional work. It doesn't even touch the subject.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
like,
Dom, the 12-step program it's about recognizing powerlessness over drugs and alcohol. Your life's unmanageable, and then the third step is you turn your will and your life over to a higher power. So the whole thing is
and then
spiritually baked.
You do inventory. Yeah, it's a spirit. You do inventory. You recognize your fears, your resentments, what you're angry at, what you're areas you're selfish or dishonest or whatever. So like it cleans up your current character, and then
And it cleans up, in regards to Reed's story, it cleans up the wreckage that he had created in his addiction, but it doesn't go into what created the person that did all these things, what created the person that currently exists. It doesn't go into that.
It doesn't go into the question of who is actually Reed. It kind of cements me as this drug addict, and I'm cleaning up my behavior. But like who I became cemented as, as like an 11th grade, alcoholic or whatever. Like that's just like that gets like magnified and extended. That part of my life or mind gets magnified and extended instead of being just like one stop on a journey of growth. And so it's like I forget there's these other parts.
Yeah, and that's kind of what we're examining. And I want to, before we miss this and go too far off the deep end, Joe had a question. He wants to know if you allow yourself to be vulnerable with Tracy. If so, does that vulnerability allow you to feel safe?
Vulnerability is difficult for me. I don't really know. Honestly, I think I'm so stunted in this area. I couldn't actually tell you if I'm truly vulnerable or not.
Did it feel when you shared
I don't know what it means. I don't know what it means to be vulnerable, honestly.
Yeah, man, I think that's a topic for another day. Vulnerability is vulnerability's the feeling of clamminess when you're sharing something and you don't know how it's going to be received. That's vulnerability.
Yeah, no, I don't, because I don't do that.
Yeah.
But that's what I was saying. One of the things I was saying was that, like, when I share things, there's usually some kind of analysis I've already done on it. Or like I think it's one of the reasons, like, traditional therapists, like, I was going to some guy like 3 years ago or something, and it was like pointless because I'm just sharing I'm analyzing myself all day long. I just go in there for an hour and share all the insights I had about myself that week. No vulnerability, nothing new. And I'll tell them up front, hey, I talk a lot, I know a lot, I need help actually sharing about what's going on. Doesn't work.
Dang, vulnerability might be the next frontier.
Well, that's why this new therapy dude is great, because it has nothing to do with talking. It's not me telling him anything. He doesn't even want to hear my stories.
No, it sounds like to me the whole thing is feelings, like tapping into things you haven't looked at or ways you haven't felt, or understanding your emotional life, not your thought life.
Exactly. And so I've had to, like, it was draining. So like I've had to take a break from these videos, and like I have to like energetically prepare for Otherwise, I could watch the rest of the videos and not feel anything. Like I want to like actively like process whatever like I've failed to process in my life. So I'm waiting till I'm in a space where I can actually feel stuff. Like I felt a bunch of stuff, then haven't felt much for a few days. Like I have a very system doesn't have a lot of juice to sustain. I mean, I cannot sustain strong emotion.
Is
I've
this
like
guy in person or online?
he's online, but I think he lives in the area. Oh, the weird thing is too, I don't know how I found him. I was looking for I thought I needed like CBT this or that or whatever, and I thought that was my search criteria. And then I was looking for like a CBT in-person therapist. And then I connect with this guy and he's online only, like trauma-based EMDR stuff. And he's explaining what it is to me and I'm like, "Holy shit, that's exactly what I need. Let's do your thing."
Oh,
Like
nice.
I don't even know how I found him, but it's exactly what I need right now.
Well, that's great. I just ended up with a whole list of I just my entire life is listed out in segments here, and each one of these little things that I wrote out is like a full change or story or insight and honestly when I got sober it was like my story is so different from yours because as when I woke up at 25 years old and I wasn't dead and I was sober, it was like I instantly returned to Adam at 9 years old. I went and got the guitar, I got the bass guitar, I
Right.
started the band. I literally just picked up where I left off at 9 years old.
I feel like
Emotionally.
yeah.
And everything I did was I was scared the whole time. Like I was scared to get on stage, I was scared to perform, I was scared to share in meetings. Everything I was feeling everything and I felt everything. And then I used to get anyway, that's why mine's kind of like the opposite. Like I didn't actually know I was thinking until I was 27 and a half years old. I wasn't even aware that thoughts were occurring in consciousness until I was 27.
Well, yeah, early recovery, like I started feeling a bunch of stuff for sure, but I found a way out through Anthony DeMello, Krishnamurti, Eckhart Tolle, all this Eastern spiritual bullshit. I found a way to bypass growing.
Wow.
So I haven't grown at all for like 8 fucking years. I've gotten better at coping with my thoughts. And I can
I
interface with the present moment in a like I don't know. Like it's a bunch of mental shit. Psychological.
That's wild. I wasn't able to grow because of my own ego. Like my ideas about what I needed and what my life was and what best served Adam prevented me from growing beyond my current state for many a moon.
Well, that too. My ego latched on to the spiritual, you know, persona, their spiritual quest. But the ego finds a new body whenever you destroy the old one. It's like a hermit crab zombie.
Yeah. Yeah. Joe has a question as a follow up. Since Reed self-examines a lot, does he feel like it sabotages the ability to be vulnerable because he thinks he knows the outcome?
Yeah. So
Wow, that's a
there's
good question.
through self-examination, it's like I can process it on my own and then never have to share it with anyone.
Right.
Or if I or
You
what
keep
I
it to
share is
yourself.
it's the already processed version that I'm sharing.
Yeah,
So
you're sharing what you discovered, but you're not sharing in the experience of discovery or the experience of vulnerability.
and that's another thing that yeah, that's a major thing that was bypassed. And I think um I don't know, AA is kind of good on that, kind of not, but um I mean it asks you to share stuff with other people, but the thing is I'd already done the inventory and processed it. It doesn't ask you to like it's like asking you to be aware of what you're doing and like analyze it in real time. And then it doesn't ask you to process anything really. It just asks you to like forget about it by going to be of service to someone, which I think is another bypassing mechanism. The constant drive to be in service so that you don't have to be in self or whatever. That's a coping mechanism. That's not actually helping you grow. Because what happens? Those people fall apart the minute they're out of service. Isn't that true?
I've seen it a lot.
But I think service is very important, don't get me wrong, but it's like a acute level care coping mechanism like the rest of the program.
Yeah, it's hard to parse through this stuff because I don't know anything outside my own experience of addiction and recovery. I don't know what it would be like not to have that system or yeah, that system of I don't know what my life would look like today without that system, because it
Yeah.
in one hand it saved my life, and on the other hand it completely reformatted the way in which I perceive myself and the drivers and the behaviors of my own life. Like it's very very hard.
It saved my life too, but I think that's its job, is to save your life. I mean, the program was written when these guys were like 3 years sober. I think you're good for like your first few years, yeah, but like I think it programmed me in a lot of unhealthy ways. Um,
So
but like,
let me share one of the experiences then, because one of the notes I had on here, let's see, was the COVID. So, one of the things when I experienced a change in my life, or what has changed in my life, my whole sobriety from day 1 to year 7, I was constantly driving myself to quote unquote recover and be active in recovery, and to sponsor and be sponsored and be in a meeting every day. I was doing that, and then COVID hit, and it was the first time that I had permission not to do any of that stuff. And it was the first time I actually experienced peace in my own life. Was the entire world was shut down, and I was given permission to sit on my back porch and do nothing.
which is a no-no in recovery.
Up until that point, it would not. Up until that point, it was a. Yeah, it was. It wasn't. Nobody had ever said do nothing to me, ever. And I was so. I had so, what I had perceived as such positive results. I just didn't know how to do anything else. I didn't know how to not do recovery, you know. So anyway, so yeah, so the COVID hits, and I experienced peace, serenity, and what I would call, contentment, uncaused contentment, and my life forever changed. But yeah, just because I realized, like, oh my God, this thing exists within me, and there's nothing I'm doing externally to create it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it was a revelation. I mean, man, recovery is a weird beast. I mean, I remember when I discovered that I wouldn't actually die if I stopped going to meetings. Like everyone around you is telling you, like, if you say you go to like one meeting a week or something, people are like, oh, you need to stay away from him. He's actively trying to get you to relapse.
Dude, I remember I started sharing in meet. I had that really profound experience, and I realized like something had changed, and I started sharing it in meetings. I said, I've come into contact with the power of my misunderstanding. I don't understand what happened to me. I don't understand why I'm seeing and feeling the way I'm seeing and feeling. And people were telling me they'd pray for me. People were concerned that being around me would cause them to relapse. I was questioning everything. I was like, why are we doing this? Why are we doing that? What is this for? What is that for? Not just in recovery, but in life in general. I was just like, everything is weird. Does nobody see how weird this is? yeah, yeah, it's like it's all in good while we're going along the lines of whatever everyone else is experiencing. But once you, but I mean, to be devil's advocate for them, I was kind of out there, realistically speaking. I mean, I think I shared in the meeting I'm not going to use drugs or alcohol ever again, and that's a big no-no. You're not supposed to come to a decision that you're done using drugs and alcohol. You're supposed to always say you're powerless forever.
Yeah, it's yeah, it's weird. I mean, it's any system that indoctrinates you into believing that you'll die if you don't do the system is gonna create weird behavior. I mean, Christianity's like that. You're not allowed to. You won't die in this life. You'll die a million times forever for infinity afterwards.
Yeah, that's another one. Yeah, it's you're not in the matrix, you get in the matrix, you get out of the matrix. Getting out of the matrix is another matrix. And then you realize okay, well, for you, do I actually understand myself? Do I actually know who I am?
At what point, so we try these different systems. We get these different phases of life. We're in different groups of people, different modes of thought. Has there been a point where we've decided or tried just we're going to be who we are? I'm going to be myself. When does that? Because that's always last. That's always the last thing other people want you to do. Oddly enough,
Dude, it's
but
so
myself was dangerous to be. For a while though. Like in early AA, when you're coming into recovery, being yourself will kill you. You very much need to be someone else for a while. It's true. If the mind is sufficiently warped in that way. But the thing is, the mind can get unwarped so that like you're not just like a danger to yourself and other people for the rest of your life. Like you can work these things out through recovery. You don't have to like. I was afraid if I was ever, to be myself meant everything would just explode, and I had to avoid myself at all costs, basically. I take everything to the extreme, though. I'm not sure if other people.
Yeah, I tend to do that too. For me, being myself in early recovery, for I would say the last 10 years until very recently, being myself was a fight. Like I have to fight to be myself. I have to actively express myself. I have to actively be vulnerable. I have to actively share and honor the thoughts or the feelings that I'm experiencing. It's only through the very recent integration of awareness and being that I've been able to really be myself, because I've since discovered there is none. For me, where I'm at, there's just not. I mean, I can talk all day about the character, and I've got a whole list like you asked me to do, and we can go through the life story. But what is true for me is there's no one here. But I didn't know, like I didn't have that insight. And I thought the personality was myself. I thought my interest was myself. I thought my thoughts was myself. So I was always fighting.
Yeah. So like, whether I don't even know what it means to say those things are you or not, but the nervous system follows patterns, and unless those patterns are rewired or repurposed or fully expressed, then they're going to continue driving experience. I don't see a way around that.
No, I mean and I would say that process needs to still continue. I mean, that's what I get out of sharing on the Discord is when I share what's going on. To me, that is that process. It's like I'm constantly recreating this is where it gets weird with language. The personality is constantly recreating itself and reaffirming itself as being something permanent and necessary for being. And unless I examine that and I'm aware of the tensions that build up in my body and the experience of my day-to-day life, if I'm not aware of those things, they'll just coalesce, and I'll end up in in a heavy state of depression, because I'll just all of a sudden I'll be identified with everything that's going on in my life and thinking I'm the one doing it.
So yeah, what does that speak to to a need at a character level to explore some of the stuff like I've been talking about if it continues to boil over?
Well, I mean, it's a tricky thing. I think it's a need on a human level.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I just think, well, you have to ask yourself what you want, what you really want out of life. Like, do you want to really fully experience yourself and all manifestations of that? Do you want to grow and change and evolve and expand? And if that's what you're interested in, you have to like be interested in the organism of your being, like the way that you bounce up against people and relationships and jobs and thoughts and feelings. Like you've got to get involved with your life.
Yeah.
If that's what you want. Or you could just be like, or you could just move into the witness space and just watch life pass by.
I mean, I guess I wanted that at some point. So like, I mean, I don't know. Like it depends on how acutely you're suffering too, I think. But it's at some point in the last few years, I think I decided that, for some reason there was a decision that I really wanted to, because I recognized that for a long time there's been, and years ago I recognized there's a bunch of trapped feelings that really need to come out and express themselves. But, within the past few years, I made a decision, like, I really want to be, I mean, I guess sufficient work had been done at the psychological level. Like, I talked about the progress I'd made being at the thought level, but like, that's necessary. In the sense that like sufficient progress had been made that I could explore these deeper aspects of myself without being in danger. There was a time where there's levels of myself that needed to be off limits due to the nature of being an immature recovering alcoholic. I'm not going to go delve into this a deep-seated loneliness that's been hidden away, like in my first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years of recovery. When do you? But I don't know. It somewhere along the line when I realized, like, that I wasn't in danger anymore the same way I had been, and I wasn't going to die if I didn't go to a meeting every day. I wasn't going to die if I didn't have a sponsor. Like, I wasn't going to die if I didn't do a written inventory every night or whatever they say you have to do. That I was just like, I was okay. I was like starting to be okay. Like my baseline okay was no longer destructive or unpredictable. Wasn't necessarily happy all the time. A lot of anxiety, but I wasn't going to go. I don't know. That makes sense.
Yeah, but by that point, you've already crystallized a thought system that continues on today. That you're, like the analytically understanding and being able to express what you've seen, and you're comfortable, but you haven't actually delved into the deeper
but
levels.
Like I can, like, and I want to, and I'm able to, and I'm starting to. So like I think we develop these mental scaffoldings that help us ascend or descend or whatever it might be along the way.
We think they're helping us.
They are at the time. And then they have to be discarded because they become unhelpful.
So that's why I said we think they're helping.
No. So the mental scaffolding was helpful, like in my first few years of recovery. It had to be discarded.
I see what you're saying. To get to by the way,
renewing.
Yeah, to get to where you're going to the next part, you build the scaffold, you dissolve it, build the new one, dissolve it.
We're continually coping with our current state.
That's a good way of framing it. Good morning, Bird. Yes, this is just for this week because I'm going somewhere this weekend. I'm going out of town. I don't know where I'm going. Boston, and then Austin, Massachusetts, Boston, Texas, and then Vermont. And the topic today is, where have we changed, and where really it's about, really, I think the topic is Reed's learning how to be in his emotions.
Well, it's not really that. That's no. That I think the topic is um
The mental scaffolding we create to get to the next point of
self
vulnerability.
self integration, like facing who you are, or and what I don't know, learning about yourself and growing as a person. And the different, it looks different for everyone. Looks way different for, I mean, looks way different for different people.
That's a good that's a good topic. Double has said, Adam, you said during COVID you had to learn to just become comfortable existing with a state of being that is inside you. Do you think that is the same thing that causes you to learn to grow? So during COVID, I didn't have to learn anything. It was the first time I was given permission to just exist. And so I didn't have to learn anything. It was this state of being of peace and contentment and joy was just present. And there was nothing I was doing to cause it. That was the surprising thing about COVID. So I didn't have to learn how to be comfortable. It was like for the first time I finally was comfortable. And it was because I was doing nothing.
Well, definitely closely related to all the stuff you had been doing, though. I mean, you wouldn't have just woken up one day and been comfortable had you not had those 7 years of intense work.
I mean, if I could have found the mystic path to cosmic power at year 3 or something, I mean, if I could have, the reason I think it was such a profound joy was because of how much pressure I was putting on myself for so many years. I was actively creating the pressure for myself. So it was like a internal combustion, that it was like the moment COVID hit and everyone's on lockdown and there's no more meetings and I don't have to go talk to anybody, I don't have to do anything. It was like all the steam just went out and I experienced joy and bliss.
Yeah, but there's a period where that combustion was definitely actively helpful, and you wouldn't have just experienced joy and bliss had you not been doing those things.
Well, so this goes back to what you asked me to talk about, like that engine actively doing things brought me to that experience in the warehouse, 22.5 years sober. My mind opens up, my heart breaks open, and I become unified with the totality of experience itself and I lose myself in a blink of an eye. There is no person there. And then immediately I start realizing I'm thinking. So I have this profound experience and no framework for it. And even looking, if I could have found the Krishnamurti that you had, maybe it would have been a little different.
So do you not think that the mind has to be prepared in some way for something like that to occur?
My theory that I was operating under, and why I was obsessed with shared space from year 3 to year 7 or 8, was because my theory was the reason that happened to me was because I was actively feeling, sharing, and being vulnerable all day, every day, actively. I felt like that's what caused it.
But it's not.
I know.
But because other people can do that and not have that experience, but for your particular brain, was that not potentially necessary to prepare your neural network for that type of experience to occur? You can't say for sure it was necessary or was not necessary.
That's true. I can't say whether it was or wasn't. That's true.
That's what I suspect. Everything we do is preparing our brain for the next leap it's going to take. To say one stage of the journey is unnecessary, I think is unfounded. I don't think there's a basis for being able to claim that you can just jump straight to this or that. But it's mind dependent. Every mind is different.
But I mean, like if I'm looking at what's not changed through the course of my life for these 38 years, and I think about moments of peace, contentment, serenity, well-being, they would always arrive in pockets, or they would arrive in spaces, you know? And I would imagine that if I were to try to theorize or understand the cause and effect of each event in my life leading to the next one to bring me to the next place, I wouldn't the thing I'm actually seeking, which is already present, this awareness and being and enamorment with existence itself, I'd be missing it. I mean, because it's there, or it's here.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to predict it.
That's why I think, as I was going through my timeline, what is growing is the character. Like Adam is growing in his life,
Yeah.
but my actual state, the thing that matters the most to me, like personally, is my own state of being, like experiencing wellness and like not anxiety, not fear, not tension, not stress. I just want to be okay. We made it. It's been okay for a few years, and it seems to stay in okayness. But there's the character is now growing, if that makes sense. I see two different things happening.
Yeah. No, I mean there's the mind evolves in its own recognition and understanding of itself, parallel to part of you that doesn't change.
Yeah, and that's when Peter would always talk about, like, I just had to go home. I just had to go home. I know what he's talking about now. He just goes into that space. He gets to be in that space. When it gets too tense out here, and it's like, I had a hard time with this because I was actively going there to avoid the tension of my real life. And you can't do that. You have to do what you're doing. You have to be in the tension of your life. That's the point.
Yeah. I mean, I'm enjoying it too. Yeah, I mean it's.
Bird said something funny.
What?
He said, "So, someone sum up what changed and what hasn't."
What hasn't changed? There's always been a custom-built computer in my room. What hasn't changed? There's always been a custom-built computer. It's been a ubiquitous part of my life. Video games have always been there for some reason. Making music since I discovered you could do so. I mean, at first I would record WAV files of all CDs and then do mashups with the Windows Wave editor.
Passion hasn't changed?
Passion? Yeah, I mean, I guess
passions haven't changed.
I guess if those are passions, apparently, like the core emotional issue hasn't changed at all. Since I was like an embryo, for whatever reason. So it's like, what has changed? I don't know. Who fucking knows? Because it has changed.
Bird. Everything's changed for me.
You don't have anything that's the same.
The only thing that's the same is awareness, which is the same for Bird and same for you.
You don't have any hobbies that are the same.
They come and go in the moment. I notice this. If I've been really into Lord of the Rings, if I start talking about how into Lord of the Rings I am, it goes away. I'll stop being into it. If I start talking about it and sharing about it, it goes away.
What about video games? You played those your whole life.
Well, that's a recent thing. I played them my whole childhood, and I'm infinitely interested. Yeah, I guess you could say I've always been interested in video games. That's true. If I'm not playing, I'm reading about them.
Yeah. So like there's a period in recovery where I didn't play games, but like there's been periods when I didn't. But it's like, if you can look back over the course of your life, there's certain things that tend to be present during those periods to varying degree.
Yeah, like it wouldn't matter no matter where I was. If I heard a side conversation or somebody was talking about like the new EverQuest or like the new Dungeons and Dragons, I'd be like, oh, well, Well, what's that?
Yeah, see, your awareness is actually imprinted with EverQuest. It's not unstained and untouchable. It's actually got EverQuest tattoos on it. So
Here's a
like your
cool.
clear, your pure presence actually has like you can see like
Yeah,
a
that's
level
the
indicator on it.
yeah, that yeah, like I'm
Yeah, no,
Adam's
you're
really not my actual awareness.
yeah, it's actually
My
attracted to Ever.
my attention. Let's see.
If you were pure presence floating around like a ball, it would be
That's
attracted
not
to pieces of EverQuest.
well, let's talk about that for a sidebar there. Nobody is pure awareness. Like I think that's what gets people caught up in all the non-dual crap is they start to think that's what they are. It's like it's what it's just what is. It's just what's happening. It's just what's available. It doesn't mean it's what you well, I guess it does kind of mean it's what you are.
I think
What you
there's a
really
difference
are.
between the difference between your third person experience and your first person experience of yourself. First person experience is awareness. Third person experience, everyone on the planet will point at you and say, "Your body over there."
Yeah. Yeah.
That's all there is to it.
Let me catch up on this. Just to clarify, Joe is saying, I mean, the acknowledgement of that state of being is the same thing that drives you to grow and learn. That it isn't actually a personal desire, but something that is inert inside of you.
I think the desire to grow and learn is a part of the character.
Yeah. Which is why the thing that was so interesting once I got hip to, when I really understood meditation and I really understood that the that I couldn't find Adam anywhere. Once I really understood that and it became my reality, the desire to learn and grow disappeared. Do we feel was matured at all emotionally and or intellectually? Any noted changes there, or did their foundations and scars just deepen? Do we feel that we matured at all emotionally and or intellectually?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm basically the same person, just more mature. Like it's not like there's all these habits and tendencies I thought were new for me, but then I'm looking at these videos, I'm like, wait, this is all the same. This is just it's not nothing new under the sun here. Like
I've
it's just like a more refined version of what I used to be.
I saw something last night, Bird, that is a definitely maturity emotionally, and I don't know about intellectually. I don't think I'm very intellectually smart, but I would say emotionally mature because I was at the end of my rope last night. Everything was I was like super sensitive to any stimulation in my environment, and I just had this rage. I wanted to like be mad at everybody or completely disappear from the planet and just go into a cave in the darkness and just no sound, no noise. I just want to be away from all of everything in my life, my family, my the responsibilities, and I was able to exist in that space while joking and having fun with Melissa and Eli. So for me, that like I couldn't imagine having that. Like that's a new thing. It's like I could be completely dying on the inside yet be present and available on the outside. I remember the first time I realized that was possible. I was going into the warehouse for work one day, and up until this point I always felt that if I felt any like negative emotion, I needed to write about it or share about it. And I
Yeah.
remember I was walking into the warehouse for work and I was having a no good, very bad day, complete depression, dark night of the soul, despair. And my brother's there smiling at me as I walk in. And my plan was to use him as a tool for me to examine the pain I was experiencing. That was my plan as I pulled up and parked. And I get out of the car and he's beaming and he's so joyful and happy to exist and work with his brother. I couldn't do it. I literally couldn't make it about me in that moment. And I smiled and I talked with him and he shared about how his day was and what he was playing on EverQuest. And the thing resolved itself without me talking about it. And it was a miracle. For me, it was a miracle. I thought I had to examine and share the things that were going on inside. But it's like, oh, I can just not give them attention and they'll go away. I
Yeah,
could just be like happy that Alex is happy and it'll go away.
you can examine that kind of stuff. I mean, that's what I learned. Like, you can examine that forever, and it doesn't resolve it. Like, it resolves like a specific instance of something. But it's kind of the
I think that's
examination.
what.
What?
Oh, sorry. I was just
Well,
going to say, I think that's what karma is. Like the action of karma. Like me continuing to examine and dump my stuff on Alex continues to create the stuff in my life. Like I was just keeping myself trapped in a cage by behaving that way with my feelings.
well, it makes it real in a sense that like it turns it into a thing that has to be dealt with when like maybe it's speaking to something true and like the instance is probably fabricated, but there's probably something true it's speaking to. But at the same time, I mean, I guess I've learned something similar is like the ego doesn't want to hear this, but you can actually drop what you're feeling. Like you can actually, like you said, you can actually just drop it without having to resolve it or anything. Like it's like you want, it's like you're in a bad mood. Oh, like my cake fell on the ground. What do you want us to get you a new one? No. Are you sure you don't want a new
Yeah,
birthday cake?
that's
No.
that's why I say it's kind of like karma, and it is like Bird was describing. It's a maturity, although I wasn't aware of it at the time. It's maturity because I'm seeing somebody who's having their own experience and I'm not actively changing it with my stuff. I'm not lowering the frequency or the vibration of the space.
Yeah.
That's maturity. That's saying, you know what? It hurts inside, but I'm not going to make you hurt because I hurt, or I'm not going to blow out your candle because mine needs
Yeah.
more gas or whatever.
And that's just, yeah.
And then Joe said this, he's could this be further proof that all of this self-examination is valuable up to a point and anything past that is just suffering?
I don't know if it's, yes, self-examination is extremely valuable up to a point. At some point, it just becomes an exercise in continuing the machine of suffering.
And it completely needs your own individual discernment. Completely.
Yeah.
There is I don't know if we can actually
It's like what I'm doing now, I wouldn't classify as self-examination because it's like it's not that in a certain extent. It's like a self-recognition. But it's not, for me, examination implies like the mind. But I think it's helpful for identifying basic patterns of character, basic patterns of behavior. Those can be changed. Like the behavior patterns can be changed. You showed up in a 10 past relationships in the same way and they all failed. You can recognize that pattern and what it is in you that's causing that. But like, you can endlessly examine little petty fears that pop up, but everything's got the same root. I don't know. How much do you really need? Fear has the same root. You're going to lose something. You think you need to be okay. Or you're afraid you're not going to get something. You think that you need to be okay.
Yeah, Joe, that question broke my brain because I'm trying to figure out if there is a way, and I can't. I can't. I used to really think through these things, and it just doesn't. I can't do it anymore. I just don't. I think it's just like any other exercise in the toolbox is PRN. Use as needed. Discard when not needed.
I think it's helpful. I think it's helpful for me to occasionally do some kind of self-examination, just so I don't do it obsessively all the time.
Dude, I don't know why it brought this memory up, but the last time I told my story, it was in Brunswick, and I was driving to the Brunswick meeting, trying to figure out. I was trying to figure out if there's anything I could share to be helpful, like we started the conversation with, and I couldn't point at one thing specifically that I did. I couldn't find the starter. And like we were talking about prayer last week, remember? And I was like, that's my stance on prayer is like when I would hit my knees and ask to be sober, that was already before it was materialized or expressed as a prayer. It's just already what it was. And then adding this prayer or this anthropomorphic higher power entity to converse with was just lip service to something that already was.
Well, did you find a way to be helpful in what you shared?
Oh, I hope so. See, I've had bad ideas for so many years about what's helpful or not. I've had bad ideas. I used to think that the most helpful thing I could do is get up on behind a podium or on a stage and literally bleed out loud. I mean, not literally, but like metaphorically bleed out loud. Like if I'm not vulnerable, if I'm not sharing some shit I don't want to say, I'm doing a disservice to everyone in that room. But it's like, who came up with that idea? Like, why don't I get up there and just tell people how great life can be? Why do I have to get up there and just like re-enter the suffrage of my life or the suffrage of my experience to try and like represent some deeper truth? It's ridiculous.
That's what I would do. Basically, whenever I shared in an AA meeting, it would be to really speak to the person I used to be, to try to say what I wish I had heard. But my message was just like, hey, you know what? I didn't know anything other than like depression and hating life. And then I found out there's like it's like you can live life and not hate it. And you could just do these simple things and there's like a way better life available for you.
Well, you managed to do the thing you didn't want to do. You turned it into a recovery show.
That goes for anyone. If you hate your life, like it can be way better.
Yeah, but like where do you even start?
Fucking inventory.
That's true.
One, you recognize that it sucks and you haven't been able to change it or that you don't want to change it. Two, that there is something that can help you, whether it be another person, God, or whoever. There's some kind of help available. Three, you're going to try things a new way. Your ideas suck. You know, your ways made your life awful. Maybe there's a better way. And then write an inventory. Get honest with yourself about how you're actually causing, well, not always. I don't know what people's problems are, but get honest about your fears, who you hate, what you're running from, what you like, what you don't like.
The thing that's so tough about this, like I hear what you're saying. I agree with it. That the tough part of being an audience member for material like this, when I'm watching people say what you're saying, is like we say that, but it's like I need something to do. Like you know what I mean? Like if you were sharing this,
write down
I know
how you
I know.
think, behave, and look at your past, and look for your part, your thinking, and everything.
Yeah, but you need someone to do it with. Like you can't
No,
just.
you don't.
You don't?
You piece of paper and a pencil. Go get honest with yourself and examine how you've been living. And take some responsibility for how you're looking at the world and how you're thinking.
You could do that on your own?
Yeah, why not?
Because my experience with it was extremely emotionally taxing, and I needed support. Like I needed support, and I needed to know that it was for a reason, and somebody would hear it. Like I needed to know like it was going somewhere. Otherwise, it's like opening up a wound, and you're just like lost to sea in this darkness of whatever you may discover.
I'm sure life will provide everything you need to go along with that. That would be the other piece of that. But you don't need to believe that though. Like guarantee you some kind of mentor is going to pop up for no fucking reason at the exact time you decide you're going to start doing that. Isn't that true? Don't you believe that?
Um, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I feel like there's some truth there. Yeah.
Okay.
We got to start wrapping it up because it's about to be closing time. I'm gonna
Yeah, I
go.
got.
The 4-year-old me would just sit and pout in the mud whenever things didn't go my way. That's Bird. Guess I showed him. uh, that's good. So what's the plan? So you're gonna keep digging into home movies? You're gonna start feeling? Are you still feeling more? Are you dropping your ideas and plans about what life needs to be? What's happening? What are we looking at?
Um, I don't know. I think when it's time to feel the next batch of whatever's going on, then I'll do it.
More shares on the Discord.
I guess it's hard for me to connect with people because like I don't. It's funny about that loneliness thing. Like one of the reasons
You could listen to my stuff and give me your insight.
I
It's always valuable.
I, I we talk all the time.
You don't want to listen to me. That's why you don't want to even hear what I have to say. Only when I force you into this online streaming situation are you willing to hear what I have to say.
Every time I start listening, like every time you try to leave me a voicemail, halfway through you're like, you know what? I don't have anything to share anymore. Now that I started expressing it out loud,
Yeah,
I don't
that's what
believe
I
you have
like.
anything that needs to be said.
That's why I like the Discord. I like the act of self-discovery and self-expression and self-exploration, and I like hearing people all doing that. I think you should do it.
I'll share next time there's something to. But that was one of the reasons I liked first person shooter games. But back then they had the world chat. They had like a little world chat going the whole time. Remember?
Oh, while you were playing like Call of Duty?
Yeah. It wasn't like the shitty chats these days, but like Return to Castle Wolfenstein, Soldier of Fortune, all those games. They had the server wide chat going on. You just hit, and then I like the MMOs and all that shit because I felt like I wasn't alone. If there's a chat going on.
Yeah, that's probably why I stay in MMOs. Joe says it's hard for you to connect question mark. Be vulnerable. Vulnerable.
Well,
Feel
I
something and then examine it, not knowing what's going to happen or what it is.
I mean,
You can't tell me what to do.
yeah, I've tried. It's so awful. Oh my gosh. I've tried. Yeah. Whenever I try to tell Adam what to do, he resists it with full force, and then he'll come back a few weeks later and say, "You know what? You're right. I shouldn't wear my pants that low at the swimming pool."
That is actually a regular occurrence. That's why I would love you to give me insight when you hear me going off on the stream of consciousness. Because it's always valuable. It might take me there's some latency, but it eventually lands.
On this show, like it was a couple weeks ago, you said what I share with you is rarely helpful.
I did say that. Because in that I think you've been too knotted up in thought. When you're like you've been this week, it's a different
Are you
read.
sure it wasn't? Are you sure it wasn't you that was
No,
just
because
super?
you get this tone when you talk. When you're so knotted up in what you think, it's like talking to a ghoul or something. It's like you're just
So what I was sharing could have been helpful, but you were resistant to the way I was saying it.
well, I think because of the way that you were, what you're saying wasn't helpful. But when you and I are conversating and you're actively discovering along with me, what we may be talking about, it's extremely insightful. It's always been that way.
So I have to conform
You
to
have to not
your.
know. You just have to be open-minded and not know. And then your knowing occurs, but you don't claim it. You're not the. That's always been the story. Like you'd share shit with me, and I'd be like, "How do you know that?" And you'd be like, "It's just what's being said." And I'd be like, then it would be like a double shot to the head. I'd be like,
I
now
don't
I'm.
know.
That's how you were.
I try to avoid speaking like that anymore.
Don't avoid it.
It's
Don't
just
avoid
what's.
anything.
No, that's just a way to say I haven't thought about it adequately. It's
Yeah, and
just
I'm
what's being.
saying I don't think you need to think about it adequately because whenever we've had those back and forth, it was in real time with something I was currently experiencing, and you were so direct. You would ask a direct question. This is how you always were,
But
and it would just
I highly doubt it was anything that I hadn't thought about already. In fact,
you
it
were
was.
taking the stimulation of what I was saying. Even our most successful TikTok stuff from our earlier, the first couple of live shows, I'm going off on whatever tangent I'm going off on, and you're just being like, "Oh, like here's what I'm seeing."
Yeah, but I mean, it's not like stuff I haven't thought about. I'm sure there's
I, it is, it's
there's
stuff.
nothing I haven't thought about before in the entire universe, except this area of emotions because it can't be thought about.
Well, I hope we stay. I hope we stay there for some time. Thank you guys so much for joining. Thanks for hanging out, Joe, Bird. A pleasure as always.
Thanks, guys.
Bird, let's get that audio working on your phone. Let's hear your sweet voice.
I'll share
Your
some home movies with y'all.
Yeah, share some movies. Yeah, put some stuff up there. We'll see y'all on the Discord.